welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to a new episode of Max Talks Movies. And today I'm reviewing, in non-spoiler fashion, Season 2 of the Netflix original series, The Politician. The Politician stars Ben Platt, Zoe Dutch, Lucy Boynton, Julia Scuffler, Laura Dreyfus, Theo Germain, Raheem Jones, and Gwyneth Paltrow. Now, before I start, this is a non-spoiler review of Season 2 of The Politician. Now, before I start, I do want to clarify, if you have not seen Season 1 of The Politician and you are planning to do so before Season 2, I would recommend that you please watch Season 1, then come back, or watch the first 2 seasons, then come back, because I am giving Season 1 complete spoilers leading into just mild spoilers of Season 1, where the show ends and why we are in this position now in the show. These are non-spoiler to review on Season 2, but mild spoilers on Season 1. So if you just want to be spoiled, stay. If not, I'll probably watch Season 1, then watch Season 2. You've been warned starting now. As well, if you are watching this and if you are here and you've seen Season 1 of The Politician, let me know in the comment section down below. Do you really enjoy the first season of The Politician? And are you excited for Season 2? And if you've seen, just like me, the complete Season 2 of The Politician, tell me your thoughts of both seasons and rank them down below in the comment section. So now here's some spoilers here for Season 1, about to be spoiled here. So here we go. Season 2 leaves off where basically the last episode of Season 1 was basically set up for a Season 2. We got this Season 2 really, really fast. The first season all the way came out in October of 2019. Sorry, September of 2019. And then this comes out June. They shot this really fast right after Season 1 finished. So I was really pumped. The first season is 8 episodes. This season is 7 episodes. It goes from about 30 minutes to about 50 minutes is the time range of these episodes. And basically where we leave off is that in this season of The Politician, Peyton, played by Ben Platt, who's our lead here in the show. He is now running for New York to be the senator of New York. And he is running with his team, all back from Season 1. And they are currently running against the current senator, played by Judith Light. And Judith Light has been the senator for New York for 30 years in the show. And she is also, the person who's running her campaign is played by Bette Midler. And they were both in the last episode of the Season 1 to set up this one. Gwyneth Paltrow as well, who plays Ben Platt's mom in this season once again. She is now running for governor of California in Season 2, and how that affects Peyton's race for New York. We have Zoe Dutch back. We have all these people back. Everyone's back from Season 1. So I'm going to tell you my thoughts here, positives, negatives, and then I'll give you my score and recommend and tell you if Season 2 beats Season 1 of The Politician on Netflix. So first, the good. This cast, once again, is pretty spectacular once again. The cast feels like a collective unit. They have great chemistry with each other. Even our rivals here, Peyton and Judith Light here, Ben Platt and Judith Light and Bette Midler, all have great chemistry when they're on screen. And you really understand why they are against each other. And it's very real to what would be what's happening in elections, in the fact that Judith Light is the old school politician who's not, her top priority is not climate. Her top priority are economics and those type of stuff. Ben Platt comes in here and his main priority is the younger voters, is all about climate change. And that is his stance in this election. And it's really interesting to see how this will affect people like me, I'm voting in my first ever presidential election, and just seeing people our age vote, because this just shows you someone from our perspective, really the political debate between someone from that old school point of view of Judith Light and having that conversation with someone from my generation, or Ben Platt's, who is the younger generation trying to take over and change what has been wronged by the past generation. That's very fascinating and really hits home in this show. Now, obviously, the first season was just purely in high school. The last episode is years later. And so really the first season, for the most part, is just a high school race between Ben Platt and Lucy Boynton. who's also back here in the show. And this season is just them as adults now. They're very developed. They're not immature like they were in season 1. You feel like they've grown since that season 1, but still have some of the same faults. And I really enjoyed that. Ben Platt is fantastic once again in season 2. I think he has better lines, better one-liners here in this season. And his relationship with his 4 people who helped run his campaign, once again, were absolutely fantastic. And they all clicked. Actually, his relationship with his girlfriend in this season, for me, was dived way deeper than it was in season 1, even though it was a huge storyline in season 1. That was one of my issues. I didn't really feel their connection all the way. This season, you really feel like why they're in love and why they're having issues. It's always about Ben Platt. It's not really about her most of the time. And that leaves a lot of conflicts here in season 2. Still, my favorite character of the show is Gwyneth Paltrow as Ben Platt's mom. And as I said earlier, she's running for governor in California. And she dominates again. And she isn't, once again, in like the first, I think she might be in the season a little bit less than she was in the first season, just because Ben Platt was a high schooler in the first season. And you obviously, whenever he goes home, you see Gwyneth Paltrow. In this one, he's obviously adult. He's living across the country. So you don't really see Gwyneth Paltrow as much, but you do. And for me, just enough to really enjoy her character. Her character is so funny in this season. As I said, the main people who helped run his campaign, who I just named in the cast, they are all great as well here in the show. Lucy Boynton's great. Zoe Dutch does a great job. But obviously what's important here for the show, for this season to really be good, is the rivals basically to our lead, and that is Judith Light and Bette Midler, and they perform it very well. I think Bette Midler probably steals every scene she's in here in the season. And it does show a lot because this show is just so much youth, so much young, 20-year-olds here. And I mean, obviously we have Paltrow, but she also brings that energy. And it was an interesting move to do the old school idea and see if they can bring the same energy as Ben Platt and this young cast. And they absolutely do, especially Bette Midler, who is running Judith Light's campaign. And she is fantastic here in season 2. She gets probably more screen time than Judith Light, which is actually a very interesting take, but I really enjoyed that as well. And Judith Light and Bette Midler have insanely great chemistry here in The Politician. I also think this is a very well-written show once again. Just like season 1, there is a voter-only episode as well, which I really enjoyed seeing once again. But the show, for me, flows really well. Even when the episodes are 30 minutes and 50 minutes, they feel the same length. And that's a testament to the direction of the writing and our cast here, because it always feels like the same time. It really just flies by, and you never really feel the time at all in the show. And I think the show also hits harder on a lot more plot twists here in season 2 than there were in season 1, which I did enjoy. Season 1 had its twists and turns, but especially a very emotional one in episode 1 of the show in season 1. This show doesn't have that much emotional connection to the show, but I would say that the twists and turns, there are a lot more of them here in season 2. And I would say the ending episode is also very powerful, has a lot of really good messages in it, and the ending, once again, just like season 1 does, pretty much leaves it open for a possible season 3. As of now, I'm recording this, it has not been officially greenlit for a renewal for a season 3. And now, obviously, it took like a week and they knew that season 2 would be happening. We'll see how fast Netflix will be on top of giving The Politician a possible season 3. It's actually interesting where the show ends. You're not really sure if you need one or you actually want to see the next story take place on screen. So also in general, as I said, there's a lot more, I would think, relatability to everyone in season 2. Obviously in season 1, you're really only relating to the show in season 1 because if you felt that kind of, the way your school does those type of elections is the way they did it. And I didn't really feel that. So I didn't feel a deep relatability to season 1, even though I loved the show. Season 2, I felt a lot more relatability to the plot and the way that certain generations feel about how politics is run. I think that was a very crucial point that works. Now I'm going to move into my negatives. And I do have some negatives with this show. A couple characters for me, their storylines do not work. And most importantly, number one, and that was Lucy Boynton, who was actually my favorite, my favorite high school character in season one. And her storyline was absolutely fantastic in season one. For me, that completely drops a level here in season two, not because of the performance, because of the storyline they choose to put her in. And she feels very much in the sidelines in season two. Obviously, in season one, she was the main person going after Ben Platt. Then at the end of season one, it felt like she was going to be right next to him. And you really never saw the two of them on screen as much as I wanted to. They choose a very weird, unique storyline that adds in, and it doesn't really make a lot of sense why it happens, and two, what the end result of the storyline is also doesn't really make a lot of sense. Now, she has a lot of good messages. Not sure if we'll see her in a season 3, but I would too, because she's such a great actress. Well, want to see her in more things, but for me, this storyline for me was a complete step down for her since season 1. Also, Zoe Dutch, who had a girl in season 1, obviously we found out didn't have cancer, was just being used by her mom, Jessica Lange. And Jessica Lange is not in this season whatsoever. Zoe Dutch is not really in the show that much, and that could take it or leave. I've heard people who like the show say that she was one of the more annoying characters of season 1. I heard, like me, she was one of my favorite characters of season 1. And in season 2, she's in it. She's really there because of her new storyline, where she stands in the world, what she is up to, and how that affects Ben Platt and his platform itself. But she is not really in the show as much as you might think. Obviously, she's probably, out of all the all the main cast members who are not on the old side, she is the most famous. But for some reason, once again, she's not in the show as much as I would think she would heading into season 2. Now, her character still is good, and she's still good. But I was a little disappointed that her character doesn't have a huge impact here, not at all, really, here in season 2. And I think my main issue with the show, it's not a gigantic one, but we're talking about negatives here. My main issue with the show is that at times the plot is way too convenient. A lot of things happen, and a lot of things are a lot of plot twists and turns, which I like the plot twists, but they're very rushed. And they want to basically, when something happens, they want to go to press with it. And the next thing we get, it's already been to press. I think the show at times needs to slow down and let these plot twists breathe. For some of them, they do. They rush really into as well. So I felt that was a little much. As well, you could kind of see where this season would end. Now, obviously, season 1, season 2 has a great ending. Like the last scene, didn't see it coming where they would go. But the overall story that concludes here in season 2 is pretty predictable. You know exactly what's going to happen for the most part, especially what happens in the last episode between Judith Light and Ben Platt. And you really know where the show is going to go. Compared to season 1, I felt season 1 was a lot more unpredictable. And it feels even now, I'll go back to my positives as well. I think the stakes are much higher here in season 2 for Ben Platt's character, because he's obviously maturing now, but he's still in that high school land of he's never really won an election before. And he still believes he's this politician. Really powerful stuff as well. So overall, guys, I gave The Politician season 2 a 4 out of 5 stars and 83%. I think the show for me, once again, is extremely, extremely good. The acting is great. The writing is really good. The directing is really good. My negatives are that some characters who I absolutely loved in season 1 have not much impact here in season 2, and 2, not that many interesting other storylines. I think the show could have been a little bit more focused on Ben Platt versus Judith Light instead of going on to a lot of different storylines were going on. But once again, the acting, this cast, I could see this cast in a lot more seasons. They have great chemistry with each other, and you want to see where this builds into a possible season 3. So if you like my review of The Politician and you like Netflix, you like Netflix reviews, you like movie reviews, TV reviews, streaming platform reviews, movie rankings, anything of those sorts, please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell for notifications on next videos. Not sure at the moment what my next video will be. There is an Netflix original movie coming out this upcoming Friday starring Will Ferrell and Rachel McAdams. That will definitely be on this channel that day. I'm currently at the moment rewatching the Harry Potter movies. That will be a ranking whenever I'm done watching those. That will be on this YouTube channel. Probably next weekend is when that will come out. I also have a lot of videos here that pop up next to my head. Click. I have a space. If you like Netflix TV shows, I have a review up already for Space Force. Also, I have a review up for the HBO Max platform itself, and I have the most recent Netflix original film, Feel the Beat. That will all be probably next to my head, or Da 5 Bloods, whatever I choose. That will be right here next to my head. And don't forget, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, comment if you've seen season 2 of The Politician. Do you enjoy it as much as I did, or do you have more issues than I had? And which season do you prefer? I do prefer season 1 of The Politician over season 2, but for me, they're pretty much the same. I just enjoyed the charm a lot more and the freshness of it in season 1. So that was my review, non-spoiler fashion, of season 2 of The Politician, the Netflix own original series. Thanks for watching this review. I'll catch you guys on the next video.